But now I'm going to read just a couple of verses from the new Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu. This book, of course, was written by Srila Rupa Goswami, and Srila Prabhupada summarized it in the book called The Nectar of Devotion. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, His Holiness Bhanu Swami translated the Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu and included the commentary from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura and Jiva Goswami. And so, when I read this recently, it's not out yet. It'll be out soon from the BBT. It took a couple of years to go through the Sanskrit editing and other editing issues in collaboration with Bhanu Swami, the translator. But what I want to read to you here in this holy place is some of Srila Prabhupada's writings on the Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu, some of his commentary before he did the Nectar of Devotion. It's unique. It's not throughout the whole thing because he changed gears and he started doing the summary. But this is some of the commentary that he wrote, and it's included in this book. To the extent that he wrote commentary, it's in this book. So, is everyone okay? Better than okay, right? Okay. I won't be a moment more. Okay. So, this is from verse number 2 of the Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu. And then I'm going to read the commentary, it's short, from Srila Jiva Goswami and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then our Srila Prabhupada. Hridiyasya Priyanaya Pravrittito ham baraka rupopi Tasya hare padma kamalam Vande Chaitanya Devasya. I offer my respects to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in the form of Chaitanya Dev. Though I am a vile person by nature, by his inspiration within my heart, I have undertaken this work. Shilaji Shelter. He addresses himself as low, Varaka Rupa, out of humility. Saraswati, however, cannot tolerate that. Therefore, she produces another meaning by splitting the compound Varaka Rupa as Vara Aka Rupa. Vara means the best, Aka is a noun derived from the verb akayati, which means one who speaks perfectly. She thus unintentionally causes the author to praise himself as Rupa, who is the perfect speaker on the best of subjects. The word api, even in this case, will result in this meaning, quote, even though I am the author of this nice work of scholarship, I could undertake it only by the inspiration of the Lord and not otherwise. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In this verse, the author is offering his respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Gaurahari, who propagates service to himself, the Supreme Lord, and whose lotus feet are the shelter of his devotees. I offer my respects to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari, Gaurahari, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Though I am vile, insignificant, and fallen, a fallen person by nature, by his, Lord Gaura's inspiration and request, within my heart and mind, I have undertaken this work. Even though the author is the crest jewel in the group of the Goswamis, out of extreme humility, he calls himself a vile person. Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The author, Sri Rupa Goswami, shows the way of approaching the absolute personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is no other than Sri Krishna himself, having appeared in the form of a devotee to bestow his merciful benediction upon the fallen souls of this iron age, called by the name Kali Yuga. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally inspired Srila Rupa Goswami at Dashashwamedha Ghat, Prayag, Allahabad, continuously for 10 days, and authorized him to propagate the science of devotional service for everyone's benefit. As a pure Vaishnava, Srila Rupa Goswami considers himself the most insignificant person, although he is not so. No one can describe the transcendental science unless he is authorized by the Lord himself or by his bona fide representative. As Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita was personally inspired by Sri Krishna, so also here Srila Rupa Goswami was personally inspired by the Lord. As such, neither of them can be insignificant persons. On the contrary, they are the proper authorities to deliver us the right thing. No one can understand the Bhagavad Gita if he does not follow the footsteps of Arjuna. Similarly, no one can understand the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unless one is scrupulously inclined to follow in the footsteps of the Goswamis, headed by Sri Rupa Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami explains the word Varaka as one who can explain the right concept. It may not be out of place to mention in this connection that this translation into English is undertaken under the same authority of His Divine Grace Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who is the bona fide representative of Sri Rupa Goswami. There is no spirit of change herein from the path of the original authority. One more verse. Vishrama mandiratayatasya sanata tarur mad ishasa Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu bhavatu sadayam pramodaya. May this work named the Nectar Ocean of Bhakti Rasa always serve as the recreation hall for the pleasure of my Lord, manifested in the form called Sanatan Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami, praising his guru, Sanatan, as the avatar of his worshipable Lord, the author then makes a prayer. Lord Sri Krishna, though always situated in his own form, manifests many other forms. May that form of my Lord called Sanatan, Sanatana Tano, accept this treatise, the Nectar Ocean of Bhakti Rasa, as his resting place. The metaphor as his resting place is drawn with the view that the ocean is also the resting place of another form of Krishna called Narayan, which is also Sanatan. In this case, the well-known generic meaning of Sanatan, eternal, is taken. And here's Srila Prabhupada's, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's commentary on this verse. The author, after offering his respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, turns to pay respects to his spiritual master, who is known as Sanatan Prabhu. The spiritual master is non-different from the Lord, and therefore both of them are Sanatan, eternal. The Lord is represented by the spiritual master, who is the eternal servitor of God. The author wishes most sincerely that the book titled The Ocean, Sindhu, may be the eternal resting place of the Lord, who has his eternal resting place in the Karna ocean as the Purusha avatar or resting place. Hare Krishna. In the first verse, I just noticed and thought it'd be important or interesting to mention the principle of advancing in spiritual life, which is to find the self-illumined authority and who teaches spiritual science in disciplic succession, and then find get some service in that line and follow in the footsteps. As is said in the Bhagavatam, one of my favorite verses is because it's so encouraging. Sutta Goswami says to the sages assembled at Naimisaranya, worshipped him because Sattvam Vishuddham Shemaya. Shemaya means the ultimate benefit of life. Everyone's looking for some kind of benefit. That's why everyone works hard or goes to school to try to get to a better place. But Sutta Goswami says, Shemaya, to derive the ultimate benefit, one has to worship Vishnu. And then kalpante yenutaniha, which means that how to worship Lord Vishnu? If you find in propagating Krishna consciousness all over the world, mentioned many times, that my only qualification is that I'm following my spiritual master. In fact, I heard him say it this morning. And he uses the word peon, a postal peon. I'm carrying the message faithfully without adulterating it. And that's the secret, as he says, for writing Vaishnava literature or for performing devotional service. And now we'll take some comments from the esteemed devotees who are present here about anything you heard or anything you'd like to say about.
You were speaking about that the author is scrupulously following the authority, and then Srila Prabhupada in his commentary, he makes the point that he's simply carrying on that same succession, and it's an authorized chain. So because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is an authorized follower of Rupa Goswami, and he's been given the order to translate Bhakti Rasamrta Sindhu. Therefore, this translation is authorized because he's simply doing it as a service to the spiritual master.
Thank you.
I like the concept of Veda.
Or he is in right parampara. So this is very important because after sometimes we want to write something about our realizations, but we should strictly follow to this instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, whole world will be filled with literatures which have no any value.
Thank you. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki, Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribol. Dear Srila Sanatana Goswami, dear Srila Rupa Goswami, if you so desire, please empower us to follow in your footsteps through the parampara to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer, in part or in whole, please say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna! Vanchakalptarvishya kripasinabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nantakoti vaishnaviniki jai. So we'll just finish our circumambulation. And then if Prabhupada's room's open, we can visit Prabhupada's room.